With the PSE hovering above 7,900 and the peso returning to losing ways, is there anything else for the markets to be cheerful about? Well, joining me today to help me scavenge for some of these rays of light is Charlene Erica Reyes. She's an equity analyst for First Resources Management and Securities. Charlene, thanks for joining us today. Let's start with the broader PSE. Now, we've seen it trade between 7,900 and 8,000 for the most part, and trying but failing to breach that that 8,000 point level a couple of times in the recent days. And there are growing concerns that we're in the start of a correction. What's First Resources Management's call for the PSE in the short term and also for the year end?
Well, we're looking at the PSE as moving sideways with a cycle of bargain hunting and then profit taking. It's because, as we can see it, foreign inflows brought us back to the 8,000 level. And I think we're experiencing net foreign selling for the past 2 trading days. So I think the market participants are waiting for a major catalyst that would drive the index up to a record high or that would breach the 8,000 level.
Okay, so if in that case, then what sort of catalysts are you guys looking out for in First Resources Management? And yeah, let's start with that.
Yeah, major catalyst, of course, the tax reform program, and we are also weighing on the infrastructure spending of the government. So I think the index right now is quite touching the 8,000 level of multiple times, and I hope that the more times it touches the 8,000 level, the more significant its upside would be. But
the problem, though, is we've seen it touch it a couple of times, and it has regressed quite significantly over the last couple of days. Now, just in the event that we start to see a weaker third quarter, as we have seen in the last 2 years, what sort of sectors are you looking at to provide some upside or maybe some protection in case the worst happens and the PSE regresses by a couple hundred points?
Well, right now I'm still bullish with the consumer sector and of course the financial sector. The consumer sector, it's because of the tax reform program. And then I am optimistic with the tax reform program that it would be passed through by the Senate. And then I am also looking still positive with the financial sector, given that I am expecting that the BSP would hike interest rates, I think, third quarter, fourth quarter of this year.
So the third quarter, do you think they'll be hiking once or twice, Charlene?
I'm looking at once, yeah.
Once, okay, yeah. Fair enough, that's one. So let's zero in on the banking sector,
okay,
since that's something you've been looking at. Pretty impressive years so far for the financial sector, of course. But we do know that Senate begins their inquiry into the glitches and the errors that befell BPI and BDO customers recently, and they're beginning that inquiry today. Talk to us about whether this will have a significant impact on how the sector will move today, and BPI and BDO in particular.
Well, the financial sector, I think because of the Senate hearing, it would have a pullback. But I think it's good to buy there because...
so this could create buying opportunities,
yeah, this would create a bargain for those seeing... Because the BDO and BPI are the heavyweight components of the financial sector. So I think they are the main...
beneficiaries,
yeah,
perhaps.
Yeah, and then they are involved with the Senate hearing. So I think the pullback would really be significant. But then it could create a bargain opportunity because I am seeing that the banking sector would still recover, although I'm seeing a slow growth with the investment opportunity in BDO and BPI.
So slow, but perhaps some steady upside for them.
Yeah, it will recover.
Now look, Charlene, some have begun to sour on the country's infrastructure push, citing delays. And one of the sectors that was expected to piggyback on the infrastructure push was the banking sector. As you can see, 16.3% up year to date. I mean, the effect is pretty obvious there. I mean, or evident in itself already. Could any potential delays or, I guess, further souring on the infrastructure theme in investments actually also impact financials negatively?
Well, I'm really optimistic with our infrastructure spending of the government, and I'm seeing that the government will really push through whatever happens with the infrastructure. And I just read the news that next week would be the NEDA board approval of some of the infrastructure spending in the pipeline. Yeah. So I'm still, I think it would not affect the financial sector because I'm still seeing the infrastructure spending to push through.
Okay, great. Okay, let's look at one of your stock picks, which happens to also be a bank. That's Metrobank in the middle of the pack there. Let's look at how the stock itself has performed. It's up by about 18.2% year to date. And there is optimism that the bank is in the midst of a turnaround, or they're completing that turnaround. We do know that they're trying to shift away from trading assets and really focus more on retail banking as well as these loans. How is Metrobank doing so far, and is that turnaround? Are we on the verge of expecting some upside pretty soon?
I am seeing an upside with Metrobank because right now it's trading near its support, so I'm seeing an upside. And then with regards to its fundamentals, I'm seeing it as strong. It's because its PE ratio is quite low. It's one of the cheapest banks right now. And then loan growth, its loan growth is increasing around 20% to reaching the 1 trillion mark. So I guess I'm really bullish with Metrobank. And then there's also confidence with that bank. It's because it's awarded as the strongest bank for 2 consecutive years.
And not to mention they haven't been affected by any glitches
yes,
yet.
Yes,
that is true. Okay, so again, you also mentioned today, just to round things up quickly, this is your pick, and it seems that you've also picked another consumer stock, your Pure Gold, of course. Now, we did talk about the optimism with consumer stocks might get from the boost in tax reforms. But again, there are also growing concerns that there is a watering down of the tax bill that could blunt the effect. Now, they're still expecting a net positive for these, but do you think Pure Gold's impressive momentum, because it is up significantly also year to date, could that also be blunted if the tax reform bill is watered down even more as it goes to the upper house?
Well, I'm not seeing any effect on that, even if the tax reform would not be passed, or any hindrances that would be
detrimental.
Detrimental for the tax reform program, because Pure Gold right now they are consolidating their supermarket business, and that would add expansion and then income to the company itself. And then there is significant rapid expansion growth of Pure Gold, and even in first quarter of this year they have already opened 7 new stores. Their PE ratio is also quite low. EPS growth is 11% year-on-year, so that's why I like Pure Gold. And then they are also trading above their moving averages.
In one sentence, just very quickly, any price target for Pure Gold?
Price target around 50.
50, so there is still quite a bit of upside. Okay, fair enough. Charlene again from First Resource Management, thank you again for joining us this morning on Start Engage. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.